With the fight being like it is right now, I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get it twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis would be that person because of his intangibles. When Tank is disciplined and got his mind on right, Tank's a problem.
Yeah, he's definitely respected in boxing. But Shakur is a different fighter. You know, Shakur is different. You know, people may call him boring. People may say he can't punch. But they said the same thing about Floyd.
Like, why can't he keep fighting? He ain't getting hurt. He was having a rough night with black eyes and bruised ribs and stuff. Then you got to not fight some of those kind of fights. But nobody can push him to that point yet. So he can fight whoever he needs.
Devin don't really want that.
Will it be that dominant though, like the way it was with Tio?
Nah. Hey man, they say I'm clout chasing. At first when I was calling his name, he was saying, go get a belt. I get a belt, I'm calling his name. I'm clout chasing, I'm on his, I'm this and that. Devin wanna fight, they can send me a contract. I'm ready to come up to 147 after this fight. I'm tired of 140.
People constantly praise Shakur Stevenson for his technical brilliance, but Roy Jones Jr. believes there's one factor that could completely change the equation: power. While Gervonta Davis has often been in the news for things happening outside the ring, Jones says that if the long-anticipated clash between Tank and Shakur finally takes place, he still expects Stevenson to come out on top. According to Jones, Shakur's discipline and overall improvement, especially following his bout with Teofimo Lopez, show how far he has evolved. Still, Jones admits that Tank's knockout ability could be the one element capable of causing real trouble.
Shakur wins it because of his discipline, because he showed against Teofimo that he can stay very disciplined all night. And he's the type of guy, he don't really do a lot of crazy stuff in his life normally. So it's like discipline is a thing that is not only exercised inside the ring, it's exercised also outside the ring. And as we see, sometimes Gervonta has problems with discipline, but we have never seen Shakur have problems with discipline. We've seen him be more disciplined at the right times than we've seen him not have discipline. So with the fight being like it is right now, I would lean towards Shakur because of his discipline, but don't get it twisted. If somebody could beat him, Tank Davis.
When discussing the matchup in more detail, Jones emphasized just how dangerous Davis can be when he's fully locked in. If Tank manages to stay focused and avoid distractions outside the sport, Jones believes he instantly becomes a nightmare opponent for anyone in the division. While many fans gravitate toward Davis because of his knockout power, Jones still slightly favors Stevenson, but he warns that if Tank shows up with the right mindset, the fight could look very different.
Of his intangibles. When Tank is disciplined and got his mind on right, Tank is a problem for anybody. Tank can fight better than most people think he can. It's just that sometimes his outside antics get the better of him, and it makes people think less of him, but don't underestimate Tank Davis. If Tank is motivated and ready to fight, Tank is a problem.
Following his standout performance against Teofimo Lopez, Stevenson's career has surged forward, putting several high-profile opponents within reach. Powerful boxing figure Turki Alalshik has reportedly been exploring multiple opportunities for him. Roy Jones sees that attention as proof of Stevenson's elite skill. Shakur's ability to control fights while taking minimal damage, methodically breaking opponents down, was on full display against Lopez.
Those fights.
He's gonna have to take some more. You don't want to fight hard every fight out because you don't want to have to, if you don't have to, but when he's paying you $10 million to fight, you can fight whoever every fight out because you get paid for it. We didn't fight every fight out hard because no matter who we fought, they don't gonna pay us so much. So why we go fight 3 tough guys in a row, and you gonna pay us like we fighting 3 regular fights in a row. Now he paying like you fighting 3 super fights in a row. That's what Turk brings to the table. So you can go fight 3 super fights in a row. And to be honest with you, that fight he just had was a good fight, but he didn't take no punishment. And as long as he keep it like that, he can fight whoever he want to fight every time he wants. Because Turk giving him the money to fight big fights every time. Why not fight a big fight every time? He's making it so easy, he's not taking punishment. Look at him today, he looks like nothing happened to death.
Right.
Another possible showdown generating excitement is Stevenson versus Devin Haney. Many observers see that as a fascinating stylistic battle. Jones believes this moment presents Shakur with a chance to further prove he belongs among the sport's absolute best. Stevenson himself has mentioned Davis and Haney as 2 of the opponents he wants most. Even though Jones recognizes how difficult Stevenson is to beat, he acknowledges that both fighters could still present serious challenges.
They weren't such close friends, it would have been Keyshawn. but there's two close of friends to fight now, so it's like, hey, boxing never gonna get that fight.
Right.
But that's the fight. That's a fight we would have wanted to be able to see. But nowadays, everybody, and it's like that because social media, so many people are like cooler now that, you know, it's like, it's not like it was. So some of the good fights we won't get to see because they are cool or they friends, or like the two Klitschko's, they were brothers. We never were gonna get to see them fight each other because they were brothers. So it's like, you know, sometimes we don't get the better fights because of things like that. But Shakur versus anybody is gonna be a good fight because Shakur is so disciplined and he's so good. So him with any of the top names, it's gonna be a good fight. You don't need to fight Keyshawn. You got so many other people you can fight with the Tank Davises of the world, with the Devin Haney's of the world. So it's a lot of fights out there to be fought. And with that being said, he's gonna get a chance to prove if he's
Ben himself has expressed confidence that he could defeat Stevenson, but many in the boxing community believe that claim might be overly ambitious. Analysts argue that Ben's bold words may not match his current level of experience. Former champion Carl Froch echoed that sentiment, saying Ben hasn't yet earned the opportunity to face someone of Stevenson's caliber, especially after Shakur's dominant display against Lopez.
And potentially taking on Shakur Stevenson, and he's just getting totally written off. Nobody's giving Conor Benn a chance at all, and you can see why. Conor Benn is still learning on the job. He's never fought for an English, British, Commonwealth, European title. He's never fought for a world title. He's got a good win against Chris Algieri. He's obviously had them two mega fights with Chris Eubank Jr., but he's not ready for them kind of opponents, in my opinion. It just might be. You never know. Conor Benn might get in there and he might shock the world and shock everyone and do really well. I mean, I've come and do a little bit of criticism of Conor Benn himself. I spoke to him the other day. He wasn't very happy. I mean, we get on all right. We had a laugh. But I mentioned the word novice, which I suppose novice is a little bit...
Interestingly, Stevenson has publicly shown interest in facing Ben. However, Froch believes the motivation behind that potential fight could be largely financial. Ben commands a massive fan base in England, which could translate into a huge payday. From a pure skill perspective, though, Froch argues Ben is still far from Stevenson's level and must prove himself before being considered a serious championship threat.
Well, you're thinking, actually, Conor Benn's a big fighter in England. He brings a crowd, so it'll bring the money. So you think, I fancy that. It's a steady fight. Like, Conor Benn thinks he's too big for him, but sometimes size doesn't matter. And for this one, I just think Shakur Stevenson will be far too talented for Conor Benn. I might be wrong. I'm not giving Conor Benn his stick, and I sound like I'm trying to justify what I'm saying, but Conor needs a couple of steady fights around world level before he challenges for a world title. And I like him against someone like Ryan Garcia in a couple of fights, or maybe Barrios. I think they're winnable fights, potentially. But the Shakur Stevenson one, I just think there's levels in the game, and Conor is...
Promoter Eddie Hearn has also discussed a possible clash between Stevenson and Conor Benn. Hearn suggested that after a successful run at 140 pounds, Stevenson could eventually move up to the 147-pound division. Still, he admitted that if the financial reward and entertainment value made sense, he would gladly help arrange a fight between Stevenson and Benn.
140, honestly, I think he can move to 147 and win world championships, no problem. That would be 5 divisions, you know. And again, he's just so young and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Like, never been in a tough fight, never really been hit, and he's done all that and achieved all that in doing so.
Would you entertain that fight with a rehydration clause at 47? Because I know
it's down to Conor. You know, I mean, basically you get what you negotiate. So you know, there's like, you got to do that, Conor, because that's what Chris Eubank Jr. done. No, we asked him to do it or requested it, and he said yes. So Conor Benn can do exactly what Conor Benn wants to do. If the money's right, I think Conor may.
Jones also reflected on how Lopez performed against Stevenson, noting that it didn't live up to expectations. Because of that, he believes a fight with Haney might provide a tougher test. Fellow boxer Richardson Hitchens offered a similar take, saying that while Shakur dominated Lopez, Haney could manage the fight more effectively. Even so, Jones predicts Stevenson would still likely secure a victory on the scorecards, and he jokingly criticized Haney for not rushing to make the matchup happen.
Beat him. Devin don't really want that.
Will it be that dominant though, like the way it was with Tio?
Nah, it wouldn't be that dominant.
No, it'll be a lot closer.
I don't know if it'll be a lot closer, but I mean, when I say a lot closer, like I don't know, Devin wouldn't get picked apart like how Tio did.
Yeah.
Shakur will probably still pull out an obvious decision, but I don't think Devin will get picked apart the way Tio did.
Yeah, definitely. And then you want to get a fight with Devin as well. Any message you out for Devin?
I keep calling that man name, man. They say I'm clout chasing. At first, when I was calling his name, he was saying, go get a belt. I get a belt, I'm calling his name. I'm clout chasing, I'm on his, I'm this and that. Devin want to fight. They can send me a contract. I'm ready to come up to 147 after this fight.
After Stevenson's impressive victory over Lopez, Timothy Bradley didn't hesitate to criticize Lopez supporters. Bradley reminded fans that he had predicted Lopez's weaknesses beforehand and said the fight only confirmed his analysis. He described Stevenson's performance as a complete schooling and insisted that Shakur hasn't even reached his full potential yet. Bradley also pointed to Shakur Foster as another fighter who could give Stevenson a real challenge.
People, okay? You know, I'm gonna give it to y'all real. That was easy. Easy. Now, since we always wanna, we wanna just go to the future right away, who should he fight next? Shakur wants to go to 135. Shakur wants to, I'm gonna tell y'all a fighter. A lot of y'all might disagree with me. I'm gonna tell y'all a fighter that can get with Shakur. I ain't say beat him, but I'm saying that can get with him. That's on his level. Like this. His name, Shakur Foster. Yes. Shakur goes down and fight that man right there. Because I'm saying Tank ain't gonna fight him if he goes down to 35. Like, when you a fighter and you fight at a certain level, right? You get a certain amount of money, like you trying to be like, all right, I'm trying to either meet that and get a little bit more money, or, I'm trying to surpass that. I'm trying to challenge somebody even better than that. That was easy. So, Shakur Foster, as far as notoriety, he's not bigger than Tito. But I'm telling y'all, as far as skill, and I believe Shakur should be on the
Debate continues around the possibility of Stevenson facing Conor Benn. Trainer Malik Scott backed Benn, saying that if he performs the way he did against Chris Eubank Jr., he could make things interesting. Scott believes that a disciplined approach could make Benn even more dangerous than Lopez. However, former NFL star LeSean McCoy disagrees, arguing that while Benn is talented, he wouldn't pose a serious threat to Stevenson.
Conor Benn, he ain't doing nothing with Shakur.
He's in the moment.
No, I'm not. But all I'm saying is,
what I'm saying, bro.
Well, let me get my point real quick.
Conor just fought Eubank Jr., right? And remember what I said. I said with that style he fought, it doesn't matter who he fight, he would give them trouble. Just because Shakur just looked like the world's greatest the other night, I give him credit. I still remain on my statement that I said about Conor. If he fight discipline with no emotions and stick to a game plan and use his feint, he's very rough and evil on the inside. He's going to push that gas a little bit more than Tio did against.
Hayter did because he was busier?
Well, you could say that.
Former champion Paulie Malignaggi also weighed in, warning that a Stevenson versus Benn fight could turn into a dangerous mismatch. Malignaggi believes Benn's confidence might exceed his current ability, and his limited experience against elite competition could leave him vulnerable against Stevenson's speed and technical precision.
Be pushing this fight, aside from the people that have a financial stake in it, which mind you, I fully understand if you have a financial stake in it. I totally get it.
Right.
And I'm not even knocking it from that perspective. From that side, if you have a financial stake in it, it makes sense, you want it, and I get it, okay? But as a fan, you're not getting a financial stake in it, okay, buddy? You're just watching the fight. So anybody not with no financial stake in this fight should call it for what it is. It's a one-sided mismatch. I don't see Conor being competitive with Shakur. I think if you can see that before the fight, granted, Gervonta Davis has a career full of these fights, and people still watch them. So I may be out of my mind thinking that fans might actually be logical in this generation. But having said that, if you can see from a mile away that this is going to be a one-sided fight, what do you care to watch it for? What do I want? What do you want? Just spectacle?
Malignaggi even questioned whether the fight makes sense competitively. In his view, Benn lacks the experience and technical depth needed to truly test Stevenson. Instead, he highlighted Raymond Maratala, who impressed in a bout against Andy Cruz, as a much more logical opponent. While a Ben fight could generate money, Malignaggi believes Stevenson deserves a more legitimate challenge.
You can ask me as a fan what I want to see. I want to see Shakur Stevenson against Raymond Murataya. That's what I want to see. Yes, you favor Shakur, but you know what? Raymond Murataya showed a lot of quality in that Indy Cruise win. He's been showing a lot of quality in his career. He's getting better and better. He's a world champion. He's still ascending. That's the fight I love. Am I gonna get it? No, probably not. I get it.
Not only you're not gonna get it, there's zero shot.
That's not happening. That's written on my parade.
That is not happening at all.
Let me get my pro out before you write on my parade, at least. You know?
Paulie was being optimistic about something. I had to go in there and be pessimistic CA today, but yeah, no, that fight didn't happen.
Yeah, whenever Paulie's optimistic, something's wrong. We gotta step in and take care of that.
And I am not knocking the Conor Ben fight for that reason either. Like, I'm just saying, if you're giving me my opinion and you want to know, Paulie, what do you think of this fight? I think the fight sucks. All right, that's what I'll tell you. Shakur Stevenson versus Conor Ben, I think it sucks. I don't think it makes any sense from a...
Other analysts share similar doubts about Ben's chances. Chris Algieri explained that while the matchup might bring a large payday, it carries relatively low risk for Stevenson due to Ben's limited top-level experience and past controversies in the gym. Algieri instead pointed to fighters like Abdullah Mason and Devin Haney as opponents who could genuinely push Stevenson.
An option? If you have an option, if you're going to go for the biggest bang for your buck, the most money, the least risk, that's the one. Now, who do I really want to see him fight? I'm not sitting there being like, I want to see, who's going to knock him off. I think Shakur beats everybody. I want to see him fight everybody. The Murataya fight, I really like that, Paulie, but we're not seeing Shakur go backwards now. And by backwards, I mean 1 in weight and 2 in scope. That fight is a good fight, but Murataya's profile is not there yet. Maybe he gets there. I don't think he's long for 35 either. He's probably getting up at 40 relatively soon, if not next fight, the fight after. Then there's you can see Murataya chasing after a Shakur fight. And actually, I do like the fight. I think Murataya brings a certain kind of physicality combined with his technical skills that it could be something. But personally, I think the styles that are going to give Shakur the most trouble are going to be your long, athletic, fast boxer types. The guys like Abdullah Mason, the guys like Devin Haney. And that's actually the fight I really want, although his stablemate Keyshawn Davis is edging his way in there to go up to 47 to get that Devin Haney fight. I'm actually surprised. Why don't we ever hear...
Meanwhile, Raymond Muratalla has made his intentions clear. He boldly declared, "I'm not Teofimo," while calling out Stevenson for a fight at either 135 or 140 pounds. Muratalla believes he can bring something different to the ring.
It's a lot different than Teos. And it's going to be one of those things, man, where it would be hard to tell you how. It's just one of those situations where we just got to fight, and I just have to show you. You know what I mean? But as far as that, yeah, I think my style is just different. You just wouldn't it would just be like unexpected. Like you wouldn't expect like anything from me. It'll be. I mean, he does have good defense, man. But I got good timing, and I know when to punch, and yeah, I think that's gonna play huge.
Who do you think actually has the best chance to defeat Shakur? Tank Haney or someone else entirely? Share your predictions below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more boxing updates.